Hi everybody, Melanie here and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a lovely start to the new year, and if you're not, send me an email. If you're feeling pretty down this time of year, which is easy to happen, do send me an email. Maybe some online counselling and coaching with me could help. In this video, I'd like to share with you strategies, tips, advice for staying out once you've left. Which, to the outset, to people who've never been in a dysfunctional relationship with someone personality disordered, it might seem silly. Like, why would you need to watch a video on how to stay out? Just don't get involved with that person anymore. But it's not as easy as that. And a lot of people are emailing me and sharing with me stories in our sessions with the shame and embarrassment of going back to your personality disordered partner. Not admitting it to other people because they know how much suffering you've been in and you don't want to admit that you've gone back. But it's so easy to go back. So easy to go back. So listen, I'm making this video as a form of inspiration, motivation for you to stay on track once you've made a decision to leave. As always, if you've got any thoughts, comments, questions on the nature of this video or any of my videos on my YouTube channel, don't be shy, do reach out to me. Although comments are disabled, I still like to hear from you. I just prefer to get comments by email rather than under videos. So do reach out to me if you'd like to share with me your thoughts in this video, or if you want to get to know more about my online services. I am a trauma counsellor and coach. Been doing this for over 12 years. I'd love to hear your story, and if you want to work with me, I'd love to share with you more about my online services. You can also find out for yourself on my website, melanieamandine.com. I share with you the details of all my online services. However, if you do want to book, everything happens through email. So you can find my email address in this video description or in the About section of this YouTube page. Okay, so let's get started. The reason why I want to make this video to share with you how to stay out is so that not only can you move on, but you can avoid being in emotional limbo. What I mean by emotional limbo is when you're not fully out of your ex's life, but you're not really in it either. You're not where you used to be, but you're not fully out of their life either. It's a bit like being the unwanted toy that's been left in the box. I think it's Toy Story 2, is it? With Woody, the cowboy just left in the box and Andy doesn't want to play with him anymore. That's what it's like when you're in emotional limbo. When you're no longer being played with, symbolically speaking, you're no longer the favourite toy, you're no longer the favourite person, but you haven't been fully discarded either. Now, a lot of people are emailing me and sharing with me in my sessions with them about the pain of being stuck in emotional limbo and asking for my advice. What are they thinking? Do they actually want to see me again? Why are they reaching out to me when they told me that they never want to hear from me again? Happens a lot. It's easy to become the toy that your borderline narcissistic partner, personality disorder partner, it's easy to become the toy that they just don't want to play with anymore, but they don't want you to fully leave because they don't want to fully burn bridges with you, because they like to have the option that you could be there for them. Consider with BPD, for example, that these people are very codependent, meaning they need people in their lives to help them regulate their feelings. They need people in their lives to be a resource of sympathy, of attention, of money, or whatever it is. They need people around. So if you find that your personality disordered ex doesn't want to be in relationship with you, however, doesn't want to fully burn bridges with you either, you find that they all still message every now and then. Sometimes the messages can be quite misleading. You're thinking, does this person want to see me again? Are they still interested in me? Bear in mind that they simply could be messaging you just to see if you will respond. And when you don't respond, They start to panic, and then being ignored, the fear, the pain of being ignored really starts to kick in, and then they may intensify the messaging, might even suggest to you, hey, let's meet up, I miss you, say things that you want to hear, because they are being motivated by fear of you letting go, of you fully moving on and leaving them behind maybe, or just ignoring them, and you're no longer there for them. This is fully selfish, by the way. This is them wanting you around so that you could possibly be there for them in the future if they need you. And it's massively selfish because they aren't thinking that maybe it's best I just let you go so that you can move on with your life. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply to all personality disordered people. I get that. I'm saying that a lot of personality disordered people, especially with BPD, they are motivated by fear of abandonment. They hate rejection. So when you decide that it's time to leave and you're done, you're fed up, and then you start to pull away, they will notice. And then they will oftentimes act in a way to bring you back in because of fear of you leaving. But they don't actually want to make the effort to make changes so that the suffering doesn't continue. Instead, often they will use like a carrot on a stick. They will say things to bait you to stay, for you to come back. If you come back, I will see a counsellor. I will start getting therapy if you come back. Things like that. Oh, I hear that a lot. And it's easy to believe it, isn't it? You miss your partner, you still care for them, and you don't want to see them in pain. And you see that they are suffering at the thought of you leaving, which makes it hard to leave, doesn't it? So, the first thing I think when you want to leave is to make sure 100% that you want to leave, to be decided. If you aren't fully decided, it's very likely you'll be moved. You'll be influenced by your emotional partner who is distressed at the thought of you leaving. You need to be fully certain that you want to leave, to have all the strength to say no and to stick to your decision. Otherwise, it's easy to be swayed. And I say make sure that you've made a decision, because if you say you want to break up and then your partner panics and says no, and then you change your mind, what happens then? What happens? You change your mind, and your partner relaxes, and then everything goes back to how it used to be, and the suffering still continues. And you think, yeah, I'm going to leave this time. Maybe your partner doesn't really take you seriously because you said that last time and then you ended up changing your mind. And it can become a situation of the boy who cried wolf. The more you say you're going to leave but don't do it, the less likely they're going to take you seriously each time you say you want to leave. So it's best to make sure you're decided. And maybe you just need to be so sick and tired of being sick and tired that you're fed up. Maybe things need to get really, really, really bad for you to decide that enough is enough. Or maybe you don't want it to wait to get that bad. Maybe you are already sick and tired of all the suffering of caring for someone who is so dysfunctional that you're becoming a shell of a person, that your health is deteriorating, that you're living in your own personal hell of where you think an argument's been resolved, and then it's not. Your partner seems to be satisfied with the resolution of a particular situation, and then the next day, it's like Groundhog Day. You're back in the same situation, arguing about the same thing, and it doesn't change. It's a form of hell. It's a form of torture to have the same circular arguments keep going round again and again and again. So if you are sick and tired of living in this personal hell where nothing is changing, let this be your motivator to want something different. If you want something different, maybe now is the time to leave. A lot of people will want to improve upon the relationship by taking the blame, by thinking maybe the problem is with me, so I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and then my partner will be happy, the relationship will be better. The problem is that your personality disordered partner has an external locus of control, meaning that they expect outside forces to make them feel better. And when you keep taking the blame and thus taking responsibility, it will never be enough. Your partner will not be satisfied for long. The goalposts of expectation will continue to widen and widen. And in turn, you are continuing to allow them to keep acting like this. You're encouraging them to keep externalizing the locus of control every time you keep taking the blame and making changes yourself for them to feel better. If you truly love someone, you want them to grow up, right? And someone grows up by internalizing the locus of control, by taking accountability. Sometimes the most loving thing to do is to walk away from someone and love them from afar so that they have an opportunity to grow up, to become more emotionally independent. It's easy to slip into a way of thinking and believing that you're being cruel by leaving behind your dependent, vulnerable, personality disordered partner. I encourage you to consider that you could be doing an act of service, an act of kindness, because you're then allowing both of you to start a new chapter. You're allowing your partner the opportunity to think, maybe the problem is with me if people keep leaving me. I mean, if you keep coming back every time that they are upset and want you to come back, then where's the motivation for them to want to improve? I'm saying all of this because a lot of people I'm working with are very kind-hearted people who just don't want to hurt anyone, and yet you end up hurting yourself, staying in a relationship that is dysfunctional. When just the worst of both of you are being brought out in this relationship and you want to stay. Perhaps you're scared of the unknown, which is completely understandable, right? It's a leap into the unknown to leave a relationship that, although is destructive, it's familiar. It's scary to leave what's known and enter something that's unfamiliar and new, especially when you've been so involved with someone. So my second tip, the first tip was to make sure you're decided that you want to leave. Second tip is to plan an exit strategy. Be organised about this. Anticipate how your partner's going to respond and plan how you're going to do in this situation. What are going to be your responses if your partner responds in this way or that way? To be organised about this so that you're prepared. However, it's also easy to procrastinate by doing this and think, well, I need to really prepare for this, so I'm going to wait until this day, or I'm not going to do it on Valentine's Day, I'm not going to do it on their birthday. And then it's easy to just not do it because no day seems like a good day to break up with your partner. There isn't a good day. There are worse days for sure, but there's never a good day to break up with someone. So be prepared and be organised, but at the same time, at some point you're just going to have to do it. And be aware if you're putting this off, that you're just drawing this out and making this more painful for yourself. And your partner's going to know. Right? Your partner's going to know that something's up, and it's not fair to be lying to them and say, oh, everything's fine, whilst in your head you're thinking, how am I going to get out of this? It's not fair to your partner, and you're leading them on. However, if you tell them up front, yeah, I'm thinking of leaving, then you're going to have that emotionally heightened conversation, which maybe you're not prepared for right now. So plan, but don't take too long to plan. And if you need help with this, a reminder that I can help with this. Just send me an email. Maybe some work together with my online services can help you through this difficult situation. Another factor to consider is if you are co-parenting with your partner. A lot of people don't want to leave because they have children with their personality disordered partner. And they think, I don't want to hurt the children, I don't want to traumatize them, so I'll stay. And listen, every situation is different, okay? Maybe you need a bit more time before leaving. Not every situation is the same, obviously, so I don't want to give blanket advice for everyone. What I will say, if it's too risky for you to be fully honest because your partner is so emotional, is that a way to live? Because inevitably you will be censoring yourself. You will be acting in a way to placate and keep your partner calm, happy, which can come across as people-pleasing. Maybe it is people-pleasing. I get it. When you're dating someone whose personality disorder can be like being a firefighter in hell, where you are just constantly putting out fires that will just end up coming back up again. When you're walking on eggshells, when you're putting out fires, it's understandable how you would slip into people-pleasing behaviours so that you don't have to spend so much time and energy putting out fires. You get what I'm saying? Problem is, if you've got children witnessing this, they're going to think, that's how I need to be in this world. All right, if I come across someone who is domineering with their energy and bossy and controlling, I shall be a people pleaser because I've seen this is how harmony is created in a relationship. Your children will witness everything that you do and will use it as an inner template to tell them this is how I act in relationships. There is no way to avoid traumatizing your kid if you're going to leave them. Consider that staying in a relationship in which you are betraying yourself to keep your partner happy. Are you being a good role model for your children? Perhaps it may be better for you to move out, for you to separate so that you can find happiness, so that you can start meeting your needs again. You can repair the relationship with yourself. Because when you date someone personality disordered, you end up being sucked into their orbit and you lose yourself. You lose touch with who you are, with what's important to you. So being single again is a way to reclaim that all back. And that's, in my opinion, being a good role model for your children. You're showing your children that it's important for you to stand up for yourself, that your needs are important, and to not accept bullying. If you're dating someone narcissistic, then you are being subjected to bullying. 1000% you are. Do you want your kids to witness this? Do you want your kids to be witnessing all these arguments that are happening in the house? Assuming that you and your partner are having arguments. I mean, that is a form of domestic violence when children are witnessing this. Consider that perhaps you are helping your children by moving out and creating a second home for them, of which there is consistency, stability, where they don't have to walk on eggshells because they don't have an emotionally turbulent parent. So there is no easy answer here. I just want you to consider cause and effect, the consequences of your actions, and that there is no way to avoid guilt. Okay? There is no easy way to avoid the guilt and shame of leaving your children behind and walking away. Only trust and faith that by you meeting your needs and becoming a happier person, that this is for the best, and in turn this will have a positive impact on your child. Maybe not right away, but perhaps in the future it will, compared to if you stayed. What would happen if you stayed? Would you just become worse and worse in your health? Would you still be a good parent? Would you still be a good role model? And one thing that really helps once you've left and you're out is to get involved in a hobby. Whether it's a pre-existing hobby that inevitably you put to one side because you don't have the time and energy. When you're dating someone personality disordered, your life revolves around them and meeting their needs. So now you can go back to meeting your needs, and it really boosts self-esteem and confidence to finish what you set out to do. Especially when you've been living a life of constant circular arguments where nothing gets resolved. To then resolve something in terms of a hobby, a goal, a project, anything from completing a jigsaw to DIY, to learning a new language, an instrument, singing, dancing, hiking, literally any hobby, all right? Just use your imagination. Something in which you can see results from doing it is very satisfying and takes your mind off things as well, because it is very hard to stop thinking about your personality disordered ex once you leave. And this is a big issue that a lot of people talk to me about. Why am I still thinking about my ex? It's been 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Why am I still thinking about them? Why can't I get them and the relationship out of my head? Because you've been addicted to them. The nature of these relationships, the push-pull dynamics, not knowing when this person's going to be in a great mood or in a foul mood, it keeps us hooked. Yeah, and especially if you experience trauma and abuse and bullying, it's likely you're going to be trauma bonded with your partner. Trauma bond doesn't just magically disappear when you decide that you want to leave. It takes months. It can dissolve quicker when you go no contact. Now, for people who are co-parenting, it's impossible. All right, if you can go no contact, I highly suggest doing it. I know it seems rude to do so. No one really likes, maybe some people like blocking. A lot of people don't enjoy blocking others and just going no contact. It stops you from reaching out to that person in the middle of the night when you're feeling like you miss them. To go no contact is a way of reminding yourself that this is the decision I made and I want to move on. It's easy to go back, like I said before, especially when your partner wants to pull at your heartstrings, saying, I miss you, I need you. And when you're still caring for the person, it's hard to ignore that. By blocking them, you don't have to witness that. I know it seems like you're being harsh, and maybe you don't want to be seen as being harsh by blocking them. But personality disordered people generally struggle with accepting boundaries and will test boundaries just like children. By blocking them, you are putting up a clear boundary saying, I want to be left alone. Of course, people can find a way to reach out to you even if you do block them, which to me proves the point that they really don't want to be rejected, and so are really ignoring your boundaries so that they can get your attention again, for them to feel better. It's not about you, it's for them. So consider going no contact if you can, and if you can't because you're working together, sharing a business, or you have children together, you do need to manage how you communicate. You can't communicate the same way as you used to. There do need to be more boundaries and limitations around communication. If you want to know more about this, do get in contact. Perhaps we can talk more in a counselling or coaching session if that's helpful for you. Well, I'm going to leave it here. I will end by saying that by leaving and by saying goodbye, you are creating space for a new chapter in your life. And it takes time, okay? It's not a typical breakup when you break up with someone personality disordered. It takes longer, much longer. So if you're feeling embarrassed, you're beating yourself up about how you haven't moved on, how it's taking so long to move on, please know that this is normal. Managing your thoughts around this can really help. A lot of people experience PTSD from dating someone personality disordered, which makes it even harder to leave because you're still thinking about them and the relationship so much. And talking with them can give you a dopamine hit to help soothe you in the moment. It tells you how strong you are to leave someone that you are trauma bonded with, to have faith and to trust that it will be okay. Taking that leap off the cliff into the unknown. Like the Fool in the tarot card deck, the very first card, the Fool is the Fool walking off the cliff. It seems foolish to us because he doesn't know where he's going, but the Fool needs to take that leap into the unknown in order to start their journey. It needs to happen. It's risky, but it needs to happen if you want something different. If you want change, if you want to alleviate your suffering and you've been trying in your relationship and nothing's happening, perhaps you've even tried couples counselling and that's not working, maybe the best thing is to leave. Like I said, make sure you're decided. Do follow these tips. Get excited about getting to know yourself better again and get excited about all the things you can do this year. If you've got any problems with this, just reach out to me. I'd love to help. I'll leave that here. All right, take care and bye-bye for now.